Okay. Hi, everyone. Firstly, I just want to say I'm also really grateful that you are welcoming me in this space. I think it's such an incredible initiative. I have always loved when people from different industries, different experiences, different perspectives really come together to create unique ideas. And I think that Civic.to initiatives like this are really crucial to that kind of mindset, that goal, and also just how we can make the city better through collaboration. So who am I? So my name is Hayley Oleksiak. I founded and CEO of Open Space Sandbox. I work amongst a really great team of people with Euros, who does a lot of work with our full stack development. We also have Teo, who does our NLP data and GIS data, and also has some experience in data mining as well. And then we have some students and new grads that we also work with on UI/UX design, as well as business development and marketing communications. So we really have a great team that is not only just urban planners, but we have different experiences in data and innovation and tech and coding and development. And we really made sure to kind of break down these silos to really look at solving this problem as a collective. I'm Frad's down. So what is Open Space Sandbox? So Open Space Sandbox is a gamified tool focused on creating an intuitive experience that allows people to design their own parks and open spaces in the same way you would play a game of SimCity, Farmville, any of those types of games. Our mission is really to democratize the urban planning process by making it a little bit more engaging, community-driven, and empowering residents to really make sure that their voices shape the spaces that impact their lives. Oh, I'm like forgetting it's down. I naturally want to go up.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's on me. So a little bit about me, why I love parks. As you can see, these are childhood photos of me. I grew up in parks. I loved them as kids. I think we all can resonate with a park that shaped us as an individual. We can all kind of look back and think about places that we learned how to play sports, or places that we climbed trees and statues, as well as places where we had imaginary experiences as well. Yeah. So growing up, parks were just so instrumental to me as a kid. I learned everything from how to compete, how to catch bugs. I went to Black Creek Pioneer Village, learned about, how we created iron. And these are all things that shaped me as a person. And I believe that every person shouldn't have the privilege, but the right to have access to a park that properly serves them. And so that's really what we're aiming to do through Open Space Sandbox. When we were frameworking the problem, one of the first things we did was really look at the current engagement process and look at all the steps. So we just started to look at the pain points that existed and wanted to really see where we fit in that process. So one of the things that we noticed when we were looking at the pain points in the planning process was just that there's a lot of steps that happen before the community gets engaged. You have planners that do existing conditions analysis, then we have design conceptualization, schematic design, and then we go into community survey. This is a very lengthy process, and I feel like a lot of times that creates a little bit of frustration with communities when they can't be at the forefront of these projects in the earlier phases. And so with that, we saw current limitations in inaccessible and fragmented engagement, resource intensive or inefficient processes, as well as a lack of robust data feedback integration. We really wanted to create a process that got buy-in from the community early, had the community engaged early on, but furthermore, also worked to lengthen the time and the process that the community is actually involved in the design and development of their parks and open spaces. With that, we kind of came up with a statement, can we use the games we love to inspire a better and more intuitive park design experience? And so we thought about the games we played. If anyone can actually name this game, you have 1 extra points. It's Star Wars 1999. I think it's Gun Game, something Frontier. One of my favorite games as a kid. But these are all games that, and I think we all have these being in this room, probably as urban planners. I think we can all resonate. There's always that game you had as a kid that gave you the agency to make a change and really have that impact on your life, where you can explore your interests, explore your ideas, build a city, feel like you really did something and accomplished something but you're also consistently learning in the process. So one of the first things we did was play a lot of these games to understand what we loved about them, what gave us that excitement and sparked that imagination in us and gave us that feeling of agency in the process. And so we took that and we applied a layered approach towards our tool. We looked towards layering not only community experience, but then also layering data analysis and also analytics. This mapping community experience and data analytics layering process allowed us to break down that UI UX design process into understanding what we needed to understand as a map, what kind of data do we really need on the base level to make decisions, what can we then provide the community as an engaging experience, and then on the top layer, how can we provide the data and analytics that would be valuable to a planner, a practitioner in the industry to make decisions. So with that, we thought of a process of initial design and data. This allows you to understand the hotspots or where you want to get feedback, what kind of assets you're looking to include, as well as the community design process being our second phase. This allows you to do collaborative live link sharing, as well as collaborative design and social media sharing. And then a finalization analysis where the practitioner can then take all that data and information from the different designs and components that people contributed and provide a final community design based on the alignment score and revenue data. And then furthermore, we decided to think of a dual process. So when we thought about how we want to develop a tool, we really wanted it to be this dual interface experience and really think about what the practitioner wants, but also what the community wants to see as well. And make sure that they're both intuitive. We want to make sure that there's not a lot of coding up front on the planner side, but at the same time, we want to make sure that the community itself has the ability to also have that same engaging experience with breaking down the barriers to access. So this is kind of what we look like. We always like to show this because it shows our dual interface the best. But we have this, as you can see, a front-facing interface here. This is the community engagement side. And then you also get an amazing little dashboard of the data that you're looking for. So let's dig in. I'll go through some of the UI UX that we have, as well as some of the actual screenshots of our demo. So in terms of admin, like I said before, one of the big things that we focused on was making sure that we designed the admin interface to be something that is user-friendly, no code, and can also be scaled and is universal. So this tool really is part of our UX, and this really allows us to provide a similar friendly interface for administrators, for planners. Being in the industry, I know one of the biggest problems or kind of uplifts that happen in planning firms is this education piece where a lot of planners it's a lot of uplift to try to teach planners new tech, and that seems to be a concern. And so we wanted to create something that actually allows you to easily get the project started, get it going without a lot of that uplift and confusion. We wanted to be friendly on the admin side. In addition to that, we have this interface here allows you to shortlist the assets that you want to include. We do understand that in planning, there are certain limitations in terms of what can be managed, whether it's through limitations in capital costs, limitations in terms of the capacity of the city, what they can manage, as well as space. And so we did have the option, we did decide to go with an option of providing some kind of guardrails around assets if that is what the city decides. And then finally, in terms of the admin side, we have a QR code deployment, and this allows this to be scanned on site for the community to engage with. So this provides an omni-channel experience where the community member can either digitally engage with the site via social media or through email, whether any way that they can communicate digitally with the city agency or planning firm. But we also allow a in-person QR code experience as well. So when you're visiting the park, scan the QR code and you can design the park you're in. And so with that, once a community member scans the code, they get into our interface. It starts with a community engagement survey. We only give planners 6 multiple choice questions because we know that a lot of times a lot of time gets spent coming up with questions. And I know that one of the barriers is also just having way too much multiple choice questions up front. So we try to make it as concise as possible. You get up to 6 questions. And then you have this interface. So this is our hotspot interface. We based it in Mapbox. This allowed universality of the tool and also being able to scale it at whatever scale you would prefer. And so basically, as I said, when I was talking about that bottom layer, that base layer of mapping, it really starts with our Mapbox base layer and this hotspot selection process. And also these are hotspots that the planner or the practitioner would place themselves in the earlier phases of the project. The community member would then select a hotspot and this menu pops up. This allows you to scroll through a menu of different assets and options. You can, if you want a dog park, place a dog park there. If you want to have a concession stand, which I prefer personally, you can have the concession stand. This is actually my favorite icon. Fun fact. And then with that, the community member is also given the power to write a comment for that hotspot or asset. So if there's something specific that they want about that asset, maybe there's an accessibility need that they want the city to be aware of, or if there's a certain community need, or if there's maybe certain cultural needs that want to be met, you can actually write that in your comments. So you can provide feedback about the asset or about that space itself. In addition to that, we also allow you to propose programming for the asset. Programming and trying to understand what the community specifically needs in these spaces is really crucial in the park planning process, especially as we're looking to diversify the types of people visiting parks. We're really trying to get, with the loneliness epidemic, we're really trying to get younger people into these park spaces, a more broad spectrum of individuals using these spaces regularly. So we believe that looking at asking the community for specific programming ideas and collecting that would really provide a lot of opportunity to get not only community buy-in, but also get the programming needs met of the community directly. And then you have your park. So we created then once you finish the hotspot process, you end up with your park with all the different assets that are needed. I zoomed in, it kind of looks like this. So it does look like a little game of SimCity. It's really fun and very friendly. And also something that feels like you've accomplished something. It feels tactile. It feels like you have some agency over the process. But it's not something that's it's overwhelming to the user. It's a pretty straightforward process, we like to think. And then on the data side, this is our UX and the backend data. So this is the backend. So once the data is collected from all of the community members, the practitioner will get access to community alignment scores, so they can simulate different options and combinations of assets in that same park. And then with that, we can actually say how much that aligns with what the community has asked for. So actually having direct accountability from the city saying, are you meeting what the community has asked for? Are you meeting community need? And in addition to that, also a revenue simulator that allow you to simulate different revenue options as well. So this allows you to really look at providing more fiscal reasoning and justification for these types of parks. I know fiscal sustainability is a huge issue for parks in terms of maintenance and operations and trying to keep these as sustainable community assets. And so we wanted to really also add an opportunity to understand the revenue option as well and simulate that on different options. And so with that, we also have the engagement. So with that, we wanted to basically, with this tool, in terms of understanding the interventions, we feel that these interventions were really designed to really enhance that community engagement component and that problem that we are solving through increased levels of community participation, also looking at getting input through a more intuitive gamified platform. We're hoping to create more data-driven decision-making. We want this process of getting an accessible community gamified survey model to really provide that same depth of analytics that you would get from a traditional survey, or even more depth than a traditional survey. And then finally, streamlining a planning process. Being able to synthesize the process of getting community buy-in and feedback, getting some of those initial design ideas, and also getting that engagement would really not only empower the community and make sure the community feels like they're a part of the process, but furthermore, create a system that is a little bit more streamlined than traditional planning processes. We see this being used in a variety of ways, from parks to temporary activations. And not only do we see this as a really valuable tool for getting community feedback, we also see this as a great tool for community engagement and education. We see this as an opportunity to not only get the community to be involved in the parks, but also ensure that youth and the public in general feels like they have a say, but also feels educated and aware of the parks and the programs that are going on around them. So we wanted this to also become a teaching tool as well, to make that planning process tangible and really get more people involved in the planning process. And so with that, you can test it out. You can scan the QR code and get access. Our link tree has the demo on there, as well as our website. So feel free to scan and play around and design your park as you see fit. And we used Ontario Place, fun fact, as our park of choice for our demo. So I can give you a couple minutes to play with that. And so, let me go back. Yeah. Really. Feel free to scan and have a fun little time. And so with that, we usually like to close out that, we really are excited about this product. We think, or this tool more than a product, but we're really something that our team is extremely passionate about, something that we have put a lot of heart into. And I think that when we're looking at trying to create change, especially in the civic tech space, I think a lot of it does come down to having that personal connection with the type of work you're doing, because the work that we do really does impact the lives of many. And so, yeah, I'm really proud of what this product has become. And I really welcome you all to try it out and let us know what you think, and collaborate with us where you see fit. And yeah, this is our final slide. And the QR code's here as well, if you want it. Thank you.
Sweet. All right. We're going to move on to Q&A now. So we probably have about 8-9 minutes for this. And so if you have any questions online, just drop a Q or whatever favorite letter in the chat again. And otherwise, in person, just raise your hand and we'll come around with a mic. Or I guess Alex will. Yeah, feel free to raise your hands.
This is really cool. I'm interested in the kind of data side. I'm interested in like how you made some of the kind of assumptions that are going into your analytics about maybe how much things cost, or how some of those algorithms work. I don't know if you could explain that a bit.
So in terms of the data side, we still want to be for the revenue. I actually do part of my full-time job, James Lima. I do a lot of park revenue work. We really see that actually still connecting into the planning world. We do think that parks economics is still a crucial practice of the process. And I think in terms of automation, there's so much nuance in terms of parks revenue. You want to have case studies, you want to have comps, you want to justify those types of assumptions that you're making in terms of the revenue. And so really what we see is actually a parks economics specialist providing basically a sheet with those assumptions, and then you can plug them in, and then those can basically be plugged in. We think that this could work, that could be done in conjunction with a report that would have case studies and more specifics. But we really see that still kind of being in touch with the planning space, because we think that there is a lot of value in that as well, getting that type of nuanced understanding and expertise.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That was really cool.
Thank you.
So I guess I was wondering, how do you, because there's different actors in your platform, obviously, and a lot of different ways to expand. How do you prioritize what features are most important, and how have you done that, and how would you want that to be? Just
Yeah.
curious.
I'm not sure if my COO is here, Teo. If he is, that'd be fun. I'm like trying to see if he's up there. He's the one that checks me on that all the time because I'm the person that I want everything all the time. My brain is like, we could do all these crazy things, but it's really a process of having that. We found it's been a process of having this laundry list of like, what are your dreams? What do you want this to be? Like, what is your iPhone 16? And then we always joke about, we have to remember that the iPhone started as an iPod touch or an iPod. And so we kind of try to think about ways that we can think about what's crucial to the tool, but then also what clients or what the industry needs right now. So certain things, like I said, the economics piece, we really feel that that's still, we feel the tech isn't going to be there right now in terms of AI to provide those analytics in a way that would have the nuance that a practitioner would have. Same with selecting the hotspots. That's something that a planner, a practitioner still needs to be involved in that process. So things like that, we really think that that's not so much of our priority right now because we still think that that is a key component of the planning process. And then it was just a matter of things that we kind of thought was cool. Like we thought that the community design interface would be really fun and cool to design. And then started to just think about what the core of the tool was and then scaling it from that. But I think the big thing that we thought about was just not trying to take it all at once. Because if you do that, you're going to start chasing nothing. Yeah.
I think there was a question online. So go ahead.
Oh, am I reading?
Is it working?
Yep, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go for it, Thomas.
Right. I played with the demo for a couple minutes. I don't know if it's difficult to implement, but like, it might be easier to visualize the whole thing if it's like an area instead of dots, because like some parks feels like it should be bigger than the others.
I'll keep that in mind.
Could you repeat the question there, Tom?
It's more like a suggestion. I played with the demo for a couple minutes, and it feels like with the dots in hand, it's a little bit difficult to visualize how a park is being used. Like, for example, the central bit might be bigger than the others.
Yeah. So scaling is something, like when you're talking about prioritization, scaling of the site set is our next part we're taking on. But in terms of the understanding the existing conditions of the site, that again is another feature that we put later on in our goals of what we want to build out. We do want to provide more of that context, but at the moment, we didn't want to first overcrowd the tool, and we wanted to make sure that the core of the tool being the function of seeing the space and adding the icons, we want to keep that at the forefront of our process before we move into the specification of scaling and as well existing conditions of the site. Yeah.
Hi, thank you for the presentation and for your efforts with this project. It looks great. I'm not sure if it was answered, but can I create my own assets and import them into the system?
That's something that we've been
Thank you.
thinking about. So actually, we use Midjourney for our assets, which is really great. But yeah, we use Midjourney to do our assets, our asset creation. Yeah, that's something that we want. That's another function we want to add in the future is custom assets. But at the moment, we are thinking about actually doing asset packages as we work with clients in the future to specifically meet their needs if there's specific customizations or assets that they need that we don't provide currently.
Oh, we have one online.
Hey, thanks for the presentation. That was really great, and I really appreciate that you also had a demo. It's kind of cool to check that out. So I guess I'm a little bit thinking about next steps. So I guess question one, I'm curious about within the urban planning space, who would be the ideal target clients, like what type of people? And two, this may be a little bit far off, but I'm curious about the monetization strategy on the long run.
Can you repeat the second question? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sure. So, I'm curious about the monetization strategy on the long run, and this may be a little far off, but I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no worries. So in terms of clients, we really see this being, we call them practitioners, but urban planners, urban designers, government agencies, and we've actually felt some interest in terms of the developers that actually want to better plug into their local communities and design more specifically to the communities around them. So those are the target market that we're really going towards on this side. We also see there's values in education as well as value in terms of community advocacy as well. That is something that we also want to explore. And I think that would require a little bit more of a customized monetization process because we would want to provide, discounted types of pricing for those types of initiatives. In terms of monetization, we see this in the future. The way that we're building it out is a subscription model. That's really what we want to see this become. Currently, the way that we're looking at it, because we're trying to get all those features in there, is really doing one-off client or paid pilots is really our initiative right now in terms of monetizing it at the moment to complete the entire build out till we can get it into a subscription model.
I think we have time for like a couple more questions. There was one from Rock. One more. Okay.
This is amazing. Thank you. You hinted at it. I'd love to hear more about, I guess this is a chicken or an egg type question. A lot of folks when they're starting projects are like, where do I start? Was it that you were playing the game SimCity and you're like, wait, this can apply? Or was it the other way around? I'd love to hear some insights and inspiration from that.
Yeah, totally. I grew up playing SimCity my entire life. That's why I became an urban planner. The inspiration really came, my full-time job, I do a lot of work with park design. I work on a lot of park projects and open space projects. And I remember one of my assignments was to look at revenue modeling for a particular park. And I remember my boss saying, his name's Yushan, he's incredible, but he would said, how would you approach this problem? And I said, oh, well, I would do, I'd have all the assets, I'd assign revenue to that asset, and I would simulate it. Like a game of SimCity. And that sat with me for a long time. It was about 6 months or so. The idea sat with me. And then one day I just decided I'd pursue it. So I just started calling people in the industry that I knew that, trying to see if it had legs as an idea, and people really resonated with it. And from that, we just have kind of been building it out since then. So it's been a process of just different types of things in my life sticking with me. And one day it all kind of came together as an idea. Thank you.
All right, can we get another round of applause for Hayley?
Everyone.